Welcome to the tip channel. That is perfection. Hello and welcome back to the tip channel. Today we're going to take a look at a little bit of maintenance that you need to do around your home. So what we have today is the infamous Drippy faucet. So what we need to do is to replace the stem inside of the faucet. Now for today's video, you're going to need some simple tools. You may need a Phillips or straight screwdriver. You'll need a crescent wrench or at least a pair of channel locks, a pair of needle nose pliers, and depending upon your handle type, you may need a set of Allen wrenches. And then naturally the repair kit for the faucet. Now this is one thing that I always mention to a customer. When you're buying a faucet for your kitchen, your bathroom, what have you, go with a name brand faucet like Delta or Moen or something like that. When it comes to needing to do a repair on this, it's going to be a whole lot easier to find the repair parts for the name brand faucets. If you got something coming from China that you put in, you may not even be able to find parts for it. Anyways, we'll get started. Now, the first thing that we need to do is to shut off the valve so that we can service this. But we need to figure out which one it is, whether it be the hot or the cold. Now, in our case, we have a two-handle faucet, so we need to figure out which one that it is. If it's a single lever faucet, it's not going to matter. You're going to have to shut off both of the valves. You're also going to need a towel. Now, a towel is important. The reason for it being important is you need to put that down into the sink so that any of the parts you drop don't go down the drain, because then you're pulling part of the drain. You don't want to do that. Now, shut-off valves underneath of the sink, you're going to find one of a couple different scenarios. One is you may not find any shut-off valves at all underneath of there. In that case, you're going to need to go back to the main shut-off valve and shut it off there. So yes, you're shutting down the whole house while you're making this repair. But I want to say this, especially to the ladies, you need to know where the main shutoff is. If you have a dishwasher line or an ice maker line blow apart, you have an emergency, you need to know where that shutoff valve is. Anyways, second scenario is you may find a copper valve. Now, the copper valve, what you're going to find is just that it has a rubber seat underneath of it. So when you shut it off, that rubber seat might be deteriorated. It may not shut off completely. So again, you may need to go to the main to shut the water off. The third scenario would be a chrome shut-off valve, and that's what we have underneath of our sink. Now, this was the older style, meaning that it may take 2 or 3 turns in order for it to shut off. And it may also have a rubber seat, so it may not shut off completely. Today, more commonly is the chrome shutoff valve, but it's what's referred to as a quarter turn. Now, it's a ball valve, so that means you only have to turn it 1/4 of a turn. So if you look at a clock, this is 12, this is 9 o'clock, that's a quarter turn. So that's what you would be looking at. Now remember, rightly tightly, leftly loosely in regards to the valve or any screw that you're going to come across 99.9% of the time. Is rightly, tightly, leftly, loosey. All right, so I've shut the hot water valve off and determined that that is the one we're having an issue with. The drip has stopped. Now, the one thing I didn't mention is, let's just say, for instance, you had to go back to the main and shut it off, and still the main valve is not holding everything. You still got a little stream of water, a little drip. What do you do then? How do you make this repair happen? Go to the lowest point of your house and turn on a faucet there. That water will go to the lowest point and allow you time to replace this piece. Just something to think about. Okay, next up, what we need to do is to remove the handle from this. Now, you may find a couple of different scenarios. You may see a little chrome cap on top, which will pop right off. There might be a little plastic cup. There might be a little plastic lid over top of the screw. In our case, there's a little hole right here, which will accept an Allen wrench. So the first part that we'll do is to remove the handle so that we can get down to the stem. With the handle removed, now we see the cartridge that we need to remove. Again, rightly tightly, leftly loosey, so you want to go counterclockwise to remove this. This is where you'll use either the crescent wrench or the channel locks. In our case, this was recessed down in, so I did need to go down to the garage and grab a deep well socket. Okay, we have our cartridge removed, and this is what we found. This particular cartridge has a little O-ring right around the bottom of it. Now, it wasn't leaking around the stem, so I know there's no problem with this O-ring. And there's a rubber washer at the bottom here. I'm going to assume this rubber washer is wore out. Now, I'll take this piece to the plumbing store and see if they have a replacement cartridge for it. If not, I did find a place online, supplyhouse.com, that does have this. So I can order it. It would take a couple of days. Now, my shutoff valve did hold, so I'm okay if I do have to wait a couple of days. We do have another sink we can use, not a big deal. Anyways, I did pick up a couple of replacement cartridges, hoping that one of them might work correctly for us. And a lot of times what happens is that these have a little spring, and then it has a little rubber piece that goes over top of the spring, and that piece will wear out. So I grabbed a couple pieces, but unfortunately they are incorrectamundo. So now we go back to the plumbing store. So we are back from the lumberyard, and fortunately they did have the cartridge that we needed, so we're good to go there. Now, whenever I go to put this in, I'm also going to add some faucet grease. Now, what is faucet grease? This is it. It is made for faucets, so it is consumable. You don't have to worry about this hurting you. Now, I'm going to take, and this is actually a silicone base so that it doesn't dry out. I will take this, I will put it on the washer of this. That will help both friction and also that rubber from drying out. I'll also go around this little band right here, which is a rubber O-ring, and that keeps the water from coming up out of the stem. So we'll do that, and I'm also going to take and put some of the grease on the threads so that the next time it'll come apart very nicely for me. And also that little Allen wrench, I'm going to shoot some crewel in there, and also inside of the faucet handle, which has some crud in it. Now, this stuff right here, over the years, coal miners have given to me. I'm going to refer to it as crewel. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation or not, but this stuff is like liquid gold. If you're looking at trying to get something apart and it's being stubborn and corroded, get yourself a can of this. Now, I've always got this from coal miners and held on to it like it was liquid gold. I did find that Nap is now handling this product. So great product, pick yourself up a can. We're going to go ahead and put this back together, and then we'll be ready to check for any plumbing leaks and what have you, see if it's operating correctly. Now, one of the most important steps is whenever you go to turn the water back out is to take this screen out, because whenever you go messing with shut-off valves, it's going to knock a bunch of crud loose, and you're going to find the screen's going to get all clogged up. Now, this faucet's been in for a while, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the screen out anyways so that I can clean it. Now, a lot of today's screens have a little place where you can get a crescent wrench on. These are just totally rounded. So what I'll do is I'll take and use my channel locks. I'll take my towel, wrap around it so I don't put some bite marks from the channel locks into that. We'll remove that piece, and once we get this back together, we'll come back and show you everything completed. Everything's all back together and we are done. Now, one thing I did fail to mention is that with two-handle faucets, some of the cartridges will be universal, meaning they can work for the cold or the hot. However, some of them are designated. In our case, we had a hot, so I needed to get the cartridge that was made for the hot. If not, it would turn opposite. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and have a great day.
It's been leaking like a secret in a small town bar, dripping down the sink, leaving rust on the jar. Every night it whispers, keeps me from my dreams, that drippy little faucet tearing at my seams. Mama always said, patch what you can, Daddy taught me tools and a strong steady hand. This ain't a plumber's job, it's mine to make it right. With a wrench in the drawer and the will to fight, I'm gonna take care of this drippy faucet once and for all. Listen to the water as it sings its final call. No more sleepless nights, no more endless fall. Gonna quiet this old house once and for all. Got stories, a history of grime. Each drip marking minutes, wasting all my time. But there's freedom in fixing what's worn and gone. A little battle won before the break of dawn. I hear it echo like life's small regrets. The drips keep count of the things we forget. But tightening bolts, I feel something start. Each turn of the wrench, it's mending my heart.